Aloha, friends. Yeah, I wanted to address, some of the things that have been recently coming to light. Recently, one of my old assistants, Samantha Dawson, made a comment on a post that I had put, and I just had to take in a deep breath and just really share my truth, from this experience that I had. Samantha was my assistant. I hired her to be my assistant and to help me with graphic design and to help me with my website and to help me with deep, intimate aspects of my business. Sam first started working at our Cristobal shop that we had in Kapaha. And so this establishes that we had our Cristobal company before she joined the team. In her reflections, she was acting as though she was the creator and that she created the original artwork that was the Hathor, the Pele, and the Sophology. And I just want to clarify that I did hire her as a graphic designer to create the images of what I wanted portrayed through the visions that I had received, and I didn't have the technology ability to be able to do that, and AI wasn't so available, and she had more knowledge of how to do that. And so basically I would take the images, I would draw them out for her and share with her what symbols and the dove, what dove I wanted her to use, which roses, the colors, and the story, share with her the story of my life and the story of the vision, and that I wanted an ankh, and that I wanted the Sri Yantra behind, and I wanted the dove with the wings facing open, and that I wanted the roses. And so this was how the creations were designed, and each one I was very specific with the faces. I was very specific with the artwork of how I wanted it to look, and the message and the significance of what it was bringing forth. And so with the Hathor design, Hathor had come to me in a vision, and she had the symbols of the kingdom of heaven on earth through the Christ consciousness, surrounded by the angels, the ascended masters, and the Holy Spirit, which is the logo, the original logo for the Sonic Love Alchemy. And so when we were designing the Hathor design, I said that I wanted it to have the horns with the moon and the Hathor face, and I'd shared with her some images of Hathor from when I was in Egypt, and and that I wanted the hands to represent the frequency of this symbol that was very special and meaningful to me, and a symbol that I've been actually using and sharing and teaching for over 10 years with my students. And in the Pele design, the vision came through of Pele and her eyes wide open. I had been dreaming, I've lived in Hawaii for the last 17 years, and I had been dreaming of Pele, and she had been sharing with me that her eyes were going to be wide awake and that she was going to be alive and active. And this was before she was really active as she is now. It was visions that she had given me and messages that she had shared. And so I had asked Sam if she could make me this vector so that it could convey the frequency. And so I shared with her the face of Pele that I wanted to be used. And I shared with her, the way that the hand positions were, and, the way of the design. And so I just feel like people misconstrue things and, take things out of context and, try to claim ownership, to something that is just really, not truthful, and then, try to defame me and, say all these different things. And usually I take the high road and let the frequency speak for itself. But I'm really at a point where, I'm just really upset because so many people, they come into my space and act like if I just don't even exist, or if I don't give them what they want, or, they feel, upset with me, that they can use my wounding or, my my heart and, the compassion that I feel, and they can, try to turn it around on me. And, I traveled with Samantha for 4 years. She traveled with me to different, sacred places, sacred sites. I took her to different countries. I paid for everything, including her clothes. I, gifted her crystal bowls. She wanted to take courses, classes, a lot of the graphic art design. I'd pay for all of those classes and courses that she was just developing. And I did this for quite a long time. And when we split paths, due to just differences of where we wanted our paths to go, she felt very upset, because, and I offered her to still be a part of the company, but it just wasn't aligning. She decided that she wanted to go a different direction. And then she started to say that, I took her designs and that I wasn't compensating her, but I compensate her well above anybody that ever, has done graphic artists, like, just so much. And so, I just feel like, this is just unfair, to bring people into my inner circle, hire them for photography, for videography, for branding or for different things, giving them my vision, and then having them claim it as their own, or create a company out of it, I feel is just unethical. And it just creates this really deep wound around trust and sisterhood and betrayal, because it's just like, where is the the ethics in all of this, and where is the line that we draw? It's like, yes, I understand these are universal constructs, and people are receiving visions, and people are creating, but it's like, where do we come into a place of actually acknowledging in this co-creation, when we go separate ways, how we're going to navigate this with honor and respect and love. So I just wanted to point that out. I also want to say that after Samantha and I split, that I had to redesign my whole website. I had to just really, redo everything, because there were so many things that were not done, and that I didn't receive the work that I was supposed to receive for the compensation that I had given. And that was part of why we went separate ways, was because she wasn't fulfilling her obligations, within what it was that needed to be fulfilled. And there was just a misalignment with, what I felt I needed and what she felt she was receiving. And, paying for, her living in, it was a lot of compensation. And for her to say, because it was, in a trade format, that it wasn't, cash money in hand. And so for me, it was just like, wow, just wow. It's like every time we went to the store, I bought her clothes. Every time, she needed anything or wanted anything, all of her food, all of her living expenses, room rental, electricity, cell phone, internet, I mean, you name it, travel expenses, car usage, gas, I mean, everything I paid for, through the company. And, through what it was that we were creating. And the company, was originally created through me, and through the 4 years of her, supporting me, I had appreciated her, I had appreciated her in all the ways that I could. So when we completed ways, she deleted our Instagram account. She did a lot of things to sabotage the business, and we had to rebuild it from the ground up with my daughter, Tiana. And so there was many things that had to be cleaned up that she had supposedly been doing. And I never really spoke about this, because I didn't feel like it was anybody's business, and I just wanted to put it behind me as a lesson learned, and, to work with my daughter, because my daughter is, loyal and just so loving, and just really felt like, who can I trust anymore? And I don't want to feel like that. You know, I don't want to have this feeling or this energy that I can't invite people into my space. You know, it's like, or invite them and share, because I so open-heartedly share just so much. And yeah, and I just feel like, you know, why do I have to be in this position, you know, where I have to even say these things, when all I'm simply asking is to have a little bit of respect and honor to how I've supported these people, and, you know, really honored them. And I did honor Sam, you know, all of her dreams and wishes that she wanted to create. You know, she wanted to take Chine's song. I paid for her course. You know, she wanted to learn more photography. You know, I bought her a really high-end camera for her photography. You know, there were so many things that I did to support her and to support the vision. And, you know, with very little that was lasting, you know, because she wanted to destroy everything upon leaving. And so I understand that that's the wounded daughter, you know, and I have the wounded mother complex, and that was our journey in healing. And it really did heal me and my daughter's relationship. It helped us to come to where we are, which is a mother and daughter that works together with so much love, honor, and respect. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm also seeing, you know, how this unhealed mother-daughter wound, you know, it's like every time I say something or express myself, especially to someone like Layla Luna, you know, and she comes back at me that these are my wounds, you know, and it's like, these aren't only my wounds. This is the wound of the sacred feminine, and this is what women have been doing to each other for eons of time. And I feel like it's time that we actually start to heal this and actually just bring it out of the shadows into the light, and start to recognize, you know, Kahuna Ed, he used to tell me, you know, he's like, the mother-daughter needs to be healed before peace can come to the earth. And I really see that, you know, because there's so many times that people come into my space and they, you know, they need help, they need support, and I give it to them, you know, they're homeless or they don't have, you know, and I offer them everything I have. Not just, you know, not just what I want to offer them, but I offer them the lifestyle and the love and the abundance that I hold in my heart. And then they leave entitled, feeling like I still owe them something, and that I owe them, you know, that they can create for the rest of their life without even saying thank you, or without even having a deep, you know, appreciation and a resolve, you know, just like people do with the mother. You know, it's like it happens all the time, and I'm just calling it out because I feel like it's not fair. You know, ever since I've become Amma Sophia Rose, you know, it's like it wasn't a name that I wanted. It was actually a name that was given to me through spirit, you know, for this path, and I've had to learn to have it as an embodiment, which has been a deep challenge, you know, because it has really challenged me in so many ways to understand what it is to be a mother, and how to be a mother, and how to be and hold this name with honor and with love. And so I just share this with you. I know it's a little bit long, but I just needed to really come out and speak my truth. And it's, you know, I know that, you know, people are going to have their opinions of me, and they're going to have their judgments of me, and they're going to have their experiences with me, and you know, and it's okay. Like, I get it. I'm not perfect. I'm a human being, you know, and I just wanted to speak my truth and not hide it. You know, I did block Samantha because I feel very unsafe, actually, because when I moved to the Big Island, and how she got into our accounts and, you know, messed with our business and everything like that, I feel like it's just not safe, you know, to have her, you know, in my field. And so I just wanted to speak that, you know, and just share that, you know, hacking and doing all these different things and trying to sabotage, you know, something that was not hers. You know, she's trying to claim that, you know, she was part ownership in this. And we had discussed the possibility, but then when I started to see, you know, that she wasn't fulfilling her obligations, such as website, or all of the different things that were, you know, her responsibilities and duties she was not doing, I just really felt like it was not fair. It wasn't a fair exchange, and that I didn't want to move forward with her in that way. And, we were at a zero balance within the business, and I was getting ready to transition it, in a new way. And so that was why, um, you know, I just established it from Sonic Love Alchemy to Sonic Love Alchemy, and, taking back my creations, my web design, and all of my different ways of doing things, because she wasn't taking care of the things that she was supposed to be taking care of. And it wasn't her fault. It just was, growing into something that was needing something more professional. So I hired a professional web designer, to help me to just make it on a more professional level, that had a lot of the components that I was paying for her actually to learn. I was paying for her to learn, how to do professional web design and how to do all these different things. And, it was just costing me a lot of money without having the results that were needed. And so I decided to cut my losses and to go into a more professional way of doing it, and hire somebody who was actually a professional at it, and, just redid the design. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that, and, for whoever is interested and wanted to experience my version of it. So sending you lots of love and aloha.